The huge rock of King Mansa Musa at Retsan Laville. Once upon a time in Mali, there was a very wealthiest and curious African king, otherwise known as Mansa Musa. He used to travel at least 7,000 miles along the caravan routes that formed one of the most important trading links of his empire. It was taking him along the Maghreb to Egypt, and from Egypt on to Mecca. Now, one day on his journey, as he traveled through the cities of Timbuktu and Gao, this king had placed a huge rock in the middle of the road. Then he hid nearby to see if anyone would try to remove the gigantic rock from the road. The first people to pass by were some of the king's wealthiest merchants and courtiers. Now, rather than them moving it, they simply walked around it and moved away. And a few of them also loudly blamed the king for not maintaining his roads clear in his kingdom. But not one of them ever tried to remove the rock. And finally, it happened that the humble peasant came along. His arms were full of vegetables, objects, and stuffs. Now, when he got near the rock, rather than simply walking around it, as the others did, the humble peasant put down his luggage and tried to move the rock to the other side of the road. It took him time, effort, and energy, but he finally succeeded. After having done that, the man gathered up his luggage and started to go on his way. But as soon as he embarked on his journey, he suddenly saw a very big golden piece lying in the middle of the road, where the huge rock had been placed by the King Mansa Musa. He came near and picked up the piece. When he opened it, he noticed that the piece was stuffed full of gold coins and a note from the king. The king's note said that the gold coins in a piece was the reward for removing the rock from the road. The king showed the peasant what most of us never understand in life. And that is that in life, every obstacle we face on the way presents an opportunity to improve our condition. There's also a quote by Lao Laingo's word that goes, "There is good in everything if only we look for it." And it's true. This is exactly what the peasant did in the story. Instead of walking away or walking around the obstacle, he chose to deal with the obstacle head on. And in the end, he was rewarded for his efforts, which was literally finding the good within the obstacle. You see, comrades, it is the human nature to feel upset, discouraged, or overwhelmed by the obstacles in life. Often what we hear and say are the phrases like, "Oh no, why is this happening to me? I just can't deal with this." And then we become paralyzed. Our first response is usually the emotional one. But we have to look beyond the emotions and see things objectively and fight with what is standing in our way. That is to say, if we start asking ourselves the reason why we are encountering those obstacles in our life, we would begin to see the opportunities or the lessons which that obstacle odds. Everything is said and done. Always a life student mentality. At lesson level, stay driven and keep moving forward. Put God first. Remember, it's in Him we live and move and have our being. Till next time, and as always, stay blessed. Peace. Be still.